Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Sunday night in Azeroth, and we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about the recently revealed State of Azeroth, Blizzard's fancy new way of revealing the 2026 roadmap for both Modern WoW and for Classic. So we'll get into all that. I know there was a lot of conversation online about it over the past week, but I'll give my take on it, and we'll discuss everything that was announced and the things that weren't announced, and we'll go from there. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it's going to be a wild ride. Before I get into all of that and the news, I'll do a quick rundown of what I got to last week in World of Warcraft. So last week was the final preparation for Burning Crusade pre-patch, or for the Burning Crusade launch, rather. So I had my characters do I have 260, so I had them all do the Dark Portal questline so I could get my tabard, which is really cool. Thanks to Mahler from the Azeroth United Discord, who pointed out that quest was now working again. So thank you for that. You can join the Discord by going to AzerothUnitedPod.com. So I got that done. And so my characters are pretty much just ready to go straight into the Dark Portal on Thursday. And then in Modern WoW, I've just been doing the pre-patch event, which honestly was kind of a snooze fest. We'll talk about that. Well, no, let's talk about it now. So Blizzard released the pre-patch event, Twilight Ascension, on Tuesday last week when they did the with reset, I guess. So the event itself is pretty typical. You chase rares, you get a currency, and you get some drops for your alts or whatever. They're all the drops are warbound, so you can transfer them to your alts or whatever you want to do. In the past you would get like a token that you could exchange for gear or stuff like that. Whatever. So it's all warbound now, and it's fine. The problem I have with this event is that it's not interesting. So it's very similar to events we've had in the past, where it's like, oh, you got to go out to this area, and then you've got to wait for this mob to spawn, and then you got to kill it, and then you got to. But that's all we're getting is whatever the rare is. We get one shot at getting a piece of gear from the rare, and that's it. In the past, what we would do is you would go, and there was like a big boss was going to spawn, but all the guys you tagged waiting for the boss to spawn, because there was always a million ads running around, they had a chance to drop gear. So this one feels a little weird. It feels very weighty. Like, I don't need to do anything. I just need to wait. And then as soon as the big boss comes out, now I'll go in, I'll charge. And I don't know. It's fine. It's the event. It's not bad. It's just not interesting. Which I think maybe in some ways is worse than it being bad, because you can't fix it if it's not interesting. If it's bad, you can at least make some changes to make it actually work. If things aren't working correctly and whatnot. So, and we'll get into some of the changes that they made over the last week, but overall the event was, I'm only doing it because I want the gear, and it's not exciting. It's not fun. It's not interesting. And I feel bad. I feel bad for people who wanted something big and exciting going into midnight. I feel bad for the people who designed this event. Maybe it was like one guy took an afternoon to design it. I don't know. I keep hoping that maybe there's going to be something more. We'll get something a little bit more interesting, maybe next week. I don't know. But as far as I can tell right now, this is it. And the event itself is pretty bad. So, right. So that's what I got up to last week. Not much else in terms of WoW gameplay, because really there's not a lot to do in game. I did a couple of delves, but there's nothing of consequence that you can do right now. So you do whatever is fun for you, whatever content is fun. Or if you're doing the pre-patch event because you want the gear, that's fine. My hunter, who now she's item level 90 something, which I want to get her some gear before going into midnight. Same thing with my my druid. I want to get him some gear. My Death Knight and my Paladin are both pretty good. They're both in the 140s, so that's fine. I don't need to get anything there. My Warrior is in the 120s, so she's okay. I could get her a few pieces, but I'm not too worried about it. And then my Demon Hunter, I haven't touched him since season 2, really. So, I need to get him going too. So, anyway, that's what I've been up to. But yeah, the pre-patch event, kind of boring, kind of mid. So, there you go. So the other thing that I did last week, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't do a whole lot of WoW, is that we bought a car. So my wife and I went out to the dealership. We'd actually been going back and forth with the dealer on this one, and I got a loan from my credit union, and which I was like, cool. They give me a good rate, and they were really helpful. The problem was, I guess there's some sort of system that you have to be part of. The dealer has to be part of a system in order for the credit union to just electronically send them the money for the car, which this dealer was not part of. So, and this was a used car. This is a pre-owned Volkswagen Atlas, which is a really nice car. I really like it. But so we had to buy, it was this specific dealer and this specific car. So the credit union actually had to send them the check for the car via FedEx overnight, which they sent on Monday. The dealer didn't get it until Thursday because of storm and weather related outages. So we had to wait until Thursday afternoon, like 3 o'clock on Thursday. We went and bought the car. And I was so irritated with the whole thing. I was just over it, and my wife was super happy driving in the car and playing with all the features and all the stuff. And she's so excited. And I was just pissed. I was so angry because I was like, buying a car should feel good and should be exciting. This was neither of those things. I am so irritated with the whole thing. We finalized everything with the credit union on Friday last week. And then we could have even finalized it earlier, but the dealer was playing games with, why don't you get this optional feature and that? And we were going back and forth. It's like, just give us the price for the car so we can give that to the credit. Anyway, long story short, I bought a new car, but I'm super annoyed by it. So it's a nice car though. It's really nice. But that's what I got up to last week. So there you go. All right. Just, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. All right. Let's talk about, actually, before we get into the news, let's talk about this Classic Plus project. So this is a website that was started by a couple of content creators. Jordy was one of them and a couple of other ones. But basically it's a way to get community feedback on what people want for Classic Plus. It has nothing to do with Blizzard. This information might go to Blizzard. They might see it. They might not. This is just how can we as a community vote on something? It's one of the big things that a lot of Classic WoW creators have talked about is that old school RuneScape does this voting system where the developers will come up with an idea and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? And then the player base can vote on it. And if it gets 75% yes votes, they'll do it. And so a lot of people are like, hey, why don't we do this for Classic WoW? And some people are arguing, there's too many players. Everybody wants something different. And so this is an attempt by some content creators in the community to get that consensus. What do people actually want? And so they have a series of surveys which you can take and answer questions based on your knowledge of Classic or just kind of what you want, what classes you want to play, what zones, what types of dungeons and raids, and all the things that you might want in a Classic Plus type project. Because what is Classic Plus is the question that a lot of people have asked. What is it? I can't tell. But anyway, this is a website that has been, I think it went up last week. I got on their Discord and signed up on the websites and started taking surveys because it's like, you know what? I want my voice to be heard too, because I have a lot of things that I do and do not want for Classic Plus. Like, for example, I don't want to increase in level. Stay level 60. Spread it out horizontally. I've talked about this before. Horizontal progression, yes. But not everyone wants that. I want new zones, but I don't want to go to new places. I don't want to go to Outland. I don't want to go to Draenor, same thing. I don't want to go to the Shadowlands. I don't mind going to Gilneas or to Kultiris, Zandalar. That's fine because that's part of Azeroth, and you could do kind of a reimagined version, a classic version of those zones. I think that would be really cool. There's no way you could make Borealis or Dazara Lore in in the classic engine. It just wouldn't work, especially without flying mounts. But anyway, check it out. It's WoWclassic.plus, and I'll put the link to it in the show notes. I think it's a great project. I really feel like if you're interested in Classic Plus at all, or even if you just played Classic and you're like, well, I don't know what I want for Classic Plus, go on the website, maybe take some of the surveys. It gives you at least some idea of like, oh, okay, here's kind of the idea that a lot of people are thinking about Classic Plus. Now, maybe these surveys aren't super scientific and maybe this isn't really going to go anywhere, but at least it gives us something to do while we're waiting for Classic Plus, because we know Blizzard's going to make a Classic Plus announcement eventually. But until then, this is what we got. So yeah, check it out. WoWclassic.plus. And, I think it's really interesting. So, all right, let's move on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so last week we actually had quite a bit of news. It's just lots going on right now. So let's start with we'll start with the pre-patch event. So Blizzard launched the pre-patch event on Tuesday, the 27th of January, and people were very whelmed by it. As I mentioned earlier, I was not thrilled with this pre-patch event. It's like I said, it's not that it's bad, it's just boring. So anyway, the pre-patch event is out and people were upset because they did some math on it and they were like, I'm going to have to spend hundreds of hours farming these rares in order to get all of the transmog and all of the housing decor and all of the gear and whatever it is that you want from a pre-patch event. So Blizzard made some adjustments to it. So they increased the drop rate for the currency. So when it first started, you would get 50 something currency for just doing the initial opening quest line. And then every time you killed a rare, which they spawned every 10 minutes, you would get 1 currency. So if you were out there for 10 rares, which is 100 minutes, so an hour and 40 minutes, you'd get 10 currency. The gear, the items that you could purchase, your champion warbound pieces, like for your alts or whatever, were 40 currency each. So 1 currency per boss every 10 minutes. And yeah, there were some world quests that you could do as well. They give you 10 currency. Still, it takes you a long time to get 1 item. And it was bad. It was really bad. So Blizzard said, okay, we'll adjust this. So they increased the amount of currency they get per boss from 1, and they changed it. You get 2 or 3. Which is not a huge increase, but it does make a difference. If you're getting 3 per boss and you do 10 bosses, now you have 30 instead of 10. That's a substantial difference. They also changed the bosses, the rares, so that they spawn every 5 minutes instead. So pretty much by the time you finish killing one, another one spawns and then you fly over to the next spot. And so you're able to get them much quicker now. It's still slow to get the currency. It's really slow. You also have a 3 times increased chance to get a piece of warbound gear from the rares. So you don't have to buy all the gear. Maybe you'll get it on a drop. So that helps as well. And then finally, they reduced the cost of the gear from 40 currency to 20 currency. So it's a lot better now. And I don't feel quite as overwhelmed with what I want to accomplish in this event as far as gearing up my alts and things like that. I'm not so overwhelmed by it, but it's still a boring event. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go do that. You can if you're Horde, you can talk to Grand Magister Rameth. He'll pop up in your quest log when you log in, or if you're Alliance, you can talk to Magister Umbric. So yeah, check that out for the pre-patch event. It's there. That's about all I can say for it. Blizzard made some changes to housing endeavors. So apparently they screwed up And what was supposed to happen is the first Endeavor, the pre-patch Endeavor, right? Because once Midnight launches, the Endeavors are going to change a little bit again. This one was supposed to be 400 XP instead of 1,000 XP, right? So every task that you do gives a little bit. Maybe this task will give you one credit towards your housing goal, or 5 credits or whatever it is. And so it was supposed to be significantly less that you required to complete the Endeavor. So they are, instead of changing that number because it's already baked in, they're just increasing the amounts of credit that your tasks will give you towards the Endeavor progress. I guess it's easier to change that than it is to change the whatever. So they're trying. And this is there was actually a Bellular video on this where he was talking about how Blizzard keeps missing the mark on these events and these types of things where they go, it should have been this, but instead it was that. Now we have to buff it to make it player friendly. And I still feel like Blizzard just arbitrarily picks a number, or maybe it's not completely arbitrary, but they pick a number and they say, this is what it's going to be, because they know that no matter what happens, people are going to complain. If they had put the pre-patch event in with the current values, 3 times the chance to drop Warbound gear, cost reduced by 50%, rares every 5 minutes, blah, 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 people would have complained about that, and then they would have had to lower it even more. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for this type of an event, because if you're doing pre-patch, right, fine. This is the pre-patch event. Who cares what our gear looks like? If I go into Midnight with champion gear, it's not like I'm OP. Champion gear, right? This is normal raid quality gear. I should be getting it by the bucket and just passing it out to all my alts. Instead, they're handing it out to me a little piecemeal. So I feel like they're going to increase the drop rate next week or the week after. I do think that it's going to get better, but it's... And this is something that Blizzard does. Every single time there's an event like this, they go, oh, shoot. You know what? We'll increase the drop rate. Why not just make it better in the first place? Or don't do it. Say, no, tough. This is the event. Deal with it. There's a certain value that you need to try and hit. And it's this between what is going to keep people coming back for the events and not finish it right away. Like Plunderstorm, right? The first Plunderstorm was really hard to get the currency. It took a long time. People were frustrated. So the second time it came around, it was really easy to get the currency. And as soon as I got all the transmog, I was done. I didn't play it anymore. And that's what they're trying to avoid. That's why it's such a difficult balancing act, because everybody plays differently and they don't know how people are going to react to some of these things. That being said, the way that the pre-patch event launched was unforgivable. There was no attempt at balance made. That was just bizarre that they thought that was going to be appropriate. So anyway, that's what's going on there. So some changes coming. Speaking of correcting things, I have to make a correction here. The Winds of Mysterious Fortune, I reported last week that it was a 100% increase for the War Within reputations and 200% for Dragonflight reputations. That was wrong. That was what it was the last time it was here. This time, it's 50% for all reputations. So not quite as much for the War Within or Dragonflight, but great if you're trying to get Nightborn reputation or whatever it is that you're looking for. This is a good opportunity for you to get some reps. So just keep that in mind. It's now 50% for all reputations, 20% XP increase for your under 80 alts, but 50% reputation increase for all characters for all reputations. So there you go. Okay. There's a Discord quest currently in the game, right? Or not in the game. It's in Discord. So if you're on Discord, which most WoW players are, there's a quest that you can earn the portable bakery back piece. It's a little backpack that looks like a portable bakery. It's cool. The only thing you have to do is you have to play WoW for 15 minutes while Discord is up. Then you'll get a code and you can redeem that code for the back piece. So not really a big deal. And if you don't know what Discord quests are, go look at, I think you have to go to the like the little chat button in the upper left corner, and then one of the options, and there will be quests. And it's just different games and things that you can get in the game for playing the game while you're in Discord, basically, because they're trying to, get people to use Discord. So yeah, play WoW for 15 minutes. It's not hard. It's really not hard. But you only have until February 4th. So if you're listening to this on the day of release, which should be February 2nd, you'll have 2 days to do it. But check that out. Log into Discord. And while you're in Discord, go ahead and check out the Azeroth United Discord. You go to AzerothUnitedPod.com. It will give you a link to the Discord. You click on the link, and it will just drop you right into our Discord. You can say hello. So, check that out. All right. One more thing, and then we're going to jump into actually two more things. Let's see. So for the State of Azeroth, one of the things that they did, because I'll get into all the rest of that later, but one of the things they gave you is if you logged into WoW during this period of time, so from the day of that event, which is Thursday the 29th, January 29th, until the launch of midnight, March 2nd, if you log into WoW, you will get automatically a miniature replica dark portal. It's just a little dark portal. I mean, it's not little, it's big, but you can shrink it down if you want to. It's not as big as a real dark portal, though. So you'll get that as a decor item for your house. If you want more of them, for whatever reason, you can purchase them in Stormwind or Orgrimmar near the trading post for 1,500 gold per, which is pretty cool. I'm going to get another one so that I can have them like on a table facing each other, like goalposts or something. I don't know. We'll do something. But yeah, that's the item that is now available. And then the other thing is the February 2026 trading post is now available. Now, I've gone over the trading post before, and typically I'll just tell you, here's the mounts and here's the reward or whatever. And this time, this is probably one of the least exciting trading posts we've had in a long time. But that's because I'm not a Blood Elf character. There's a lot of Blood Elf themed weapons and some gear on the trading post. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check it out. If you want to know the mounts, there's the Cloudborn Razorwing, which is just a Razorwing mount. And then the Silvermoon Sweeper is returned. It's a broom that has like a jetpack on it, so you can fly around on that. It's like a speeder bike. And then the Traveler's Log reward is the Lively Pack of Lunar Explosives. It's a back piece, and it's got a bunch of explosives on it for the Lunar Festival. So there you go. That's the trading post for February 2026. And finally, the last thing is there is an encrypted 12.0.5 build on the internal test server. So no information on this yet. We just know that it's there, but it is there. We have a 12.0.5 build already in progress in February. So that's pretty wild, if you ask me. My guess is that we'll probably see this patch sometime around the beginning of May, the end of April, beginning of May. But 3-4 months early. It's kind of cool. I got the 3 months early. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on in the news. Let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. So the bonus event for this week is the Battleground bonus event. You're going to get the Sign of Battle buff. Honor gains from Battleground objectives and wins increased by 50%. And you can pick up the quest A Call to Battle from Archivist Thrune in Dornogal to win 4 Battleground matches. And you'll be rewarded with 175 conquest and 5 marks of honor. So go check that out. New Battleground, not quite in the game yet, but when that happens, then I'm definitely going to want to do this Battleground bonus event. So I guess the next time it's around should be in midnight. So then, yeah, we can do that. So I love the epic Battlegrounds. Those are my favorite. I love them. They're good. Except for Ashran. I hate that one. Right. So yeah, Battleground bonus event. The other bonus event is the final week of the Turbulent Timeways. Yeah, I hope you got your mounts because this is the last chance to get it. If you have 4, if you got 4 stacks of the buff, then, or 4, if you got the buff 4 times, then this is your last chance. Otherwise, yeah, you're screwed. And I didn't get it, so whatever. So Shadowlands, you'll get the Sign of Azeroth buff. Shadowlands reputation gains from combat and quests increased by 50%. You can pick up the quest A Shadowed Path Through Time from Archivist for Thrun and Dornogal to defeat 5 time-walking dungeons, and you'll be rewarded with a hero track raid item. The dungeons are Necrotic Wake, Spires of Ascension, Plaguefall, The Other Side, Halls of Atonement, and Sanguine Depths. So, yeah, go do your Shadowlands time walking. Now, if you need reputation from Shadowlands, this is a great week to do it because you can combine that with the Winds of Penturious Fortune, which is going now until February 24th, and you will get a 100% increase in Shadowlands reputation gains. Theoretically, I don't know if it works that way, but if adding together, it should equal 100%. So I guess we'll see. The PvP brawl for the week is Packed House. We've put more PvP in your PvP. In Packed House, there's nowhere to hide as you face not 2, not 3, not 5, but 15 adversaries in this 15 versus 15 arena battle. When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you'll be rewarded with Conquest Honor and Marks of Honor. And finally, the Darkmoon Fair is in town as of today, as of this morning. The Darkmoon Fair is open for business. Meet Silas Darkmoon and his troupe, play games that test mind and nerve, and behold the exotic sights from the four corners of Azeroth and beyond. So Darkmoon Fair will run until February 7th. Just a reminder, this is the last chance that you have to get the knowledge points for your professions, the War Within professions. The next Darkmoon Fair, everything will be moved up to midnight professions. So if you really want to finish up your profession, you want a few more knowledge points or skill points for that matter. If you haven't maxed out a profession, definitely go do that. You have until Saturday, February 7th to complete the quests there for that. You can also get 10% more of reputation gain from the fair by getting the riding the merry-go-round or the roller coaster. And as Ashlyn pointed out last week's episode, you can get the hats from the Darkmoon Fair also that you can wear, so you don't have to go back as often. But those cost tokens, I think. I don't remember. Whatever the reward is for the fair. I haven't bought a hat in forever, so I don't remember. Anyway, I think the last time I bought a hat was the beginning of Dragonflight because I was trying to do the what was the name of the Cobalt's Assembly? We were trying to get the ring. I was like, I need rep, and then I didn't. So anyway, yeah, go check out the Darkmoon Fair. I love Darkmoon Fair. It's one of my favorite things to do in game that's not like, oh, combat. It's just a little fun thing, and you do get some benefit from it. But there you go. That's what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. All right. We're going to move on to the main topic of the week, which is the State of Azeroth.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
Okay, so if you tuned in to the State of Azeroth announcement on Thursday, you're probably in the same boat that I was, which was, that's it. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat. We're not really sure what we thought it was going to be. What it turned out to be was just here's all the things you already knew, and here's a couple of new things that are coming. So we did get a few tidbits towards the end there from Ian, but most of what we got was things that we already knew. That being said, I will go over everything because we do have some more idea about things like timelines and stuff like that. We did get the roadmap, and I will put the link to the roadmap in the show notes. If you have not looked at it yet, definitely look at it. The roadmap is... So when they first started doing the roadmaps in 2023, because I have them all saved on my hard drive, so I can go look at what was released at the time. When they did the roadmaps back in 2023, somebody obviously took a lot of time and effort to put together something visually appealing. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And it wasn't really clear where things lie. It was just like, here's a very general idea. This is going to happen in spring. This is going to happen in summer, whatever. which was cool because at least it gave us an idea of, oh, this is when this is coming. And remember, this was still in the very early days of Dragonflight when we didn't even really understand the 8-week patch cadence. We didn't know that that was what was going to happen. The roadmap is one of the things that helped guide us through that. We're like, really? All this content? You're going to do all this? This is crazy. But they did. They did it. I went through and I think there was just a handful of times where they were off in when they said something was going to be from a technical standpoint, right? Like, oh, spring ends or spring starts on March 21st or whatever, and they didn't quite hit that mark. Big whoop. Sometimes they were early, in fact. So 2023, 2024, we got another roadmap. This one was very big. This included the War Within launch. It also had this was the famous pirate flag one that we were like, what the heck is that going to be? Turns out it was Plunderstorm. There were some really cool ones in the 2024 roadmap. The 2025 roadmap was very bland. It was very simple, and it's like, okay, here's the dates and here's the seasons, and there you go. I feel like whoever was doing the roadmaps initially is probably either not there anymore or not doing that anymore, and the person who's doing it now is just throwing together a Photoshop of here you go. This roadmap is even more so, just very bland, very simplistic, just some patch dates and the seasons, and here's when it's going to show up. But it gives us that idea of here's when things are coming. So I don't know. I still like the roadmap. I'm glad that they did it, but it definitely feels like they're only doing it because it's being expected now versus they want to do it. They don't really want to do it anymore. It doesn't feel like. I feel like this is okay, we've got to do the stupid roadmap now, which whatever, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, so we got the roadmap, which is cool. But in this State of Azeroth YouTube video, which is very slickly edited, but I do feel like Holly and Ian looked a little washed out. So I don't know, maybe the lighting's a little intense, but so the video starts off with Holly, and she went through some things about where we are currently. She talked a little bit about Classic and a little bit about housing. And then Ian went on. He talked a little bit about Midnight, a little bit more about housing, and what's coming in the next year. So, which is cool. A couple things. Let's start off. Let's go through this piece by piece, and we'll try and get through this without screaming. Holly started off with talking about housing, and in the early access period for the first 2 weeks, she said players spent 4 million hours doing housing. They bought 14 million decor items, and she said the most gold was spent on the secretive bookcase store, which, I mean, that makes sense because it's not easy to get a bookcase that has actual books on it. Like, you can buy a bookcase from the vendor, but it's empty. And so if people just want a bookcase, you just buy the secretive bookcase door, and then it already has books on it. But whatever. I have one of those in my house, and it's whatever. It's fine. I don't really love it because of the way it kind of clips weird into the wall. I would rather have it swing out. That would be really cool. But that's not what they chose to do with that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. She also announced the Azeroth Interiors, which is a global invitational for different content creators to be able to do housing designs. I guess we're going to get more details on that as we go, but it's like another event. There are so many housing events. We talked about the one last week for Raider.io, and then there's this one. There was also one for Wowhead. I mean, there's so many housing events. Plus, people are just having their own housing competitions on YouTube and different Twitch and different things. So people are loving housing, and they're really excited about it. But I do feel like there was a lot of frustration from the player base that this felt like the state of WoW housing and not necessarily the state of Azeroth. There was a lot of talk about things that are going on in game, yes, but most of the focus was on housing, which is fair because that's the main system feature of Midnight is player housing. It just feels weird because we got it so much earlier than Midnight. We got it at the end of the War Within instead of in the pre-patch, so it feels like a last feature of the War Within rather than a early feature of Midnight. I've talked about that before. I don't need to go over it again, but people were really frustrated that player housing took so much of the center stage. And I get that. I was happy to hear all this player housing stuff. I was excited about it. But I know people wanted a little bit more of other stuff. So speaking of which, let's talk about classic World of Warcraft. So Holly did get into a little bit about classic. She said, first off, phase 4 of Miss Pandaria Classic is going to launch in a few weeks. Now, I don't know exactly what that means. A few weeks could be 3 or 4 weeks, or she could take that to mean, a month. I don't know. A few weeks to me feels like 3 or 4 weeks. So I guess we're getting phase 4 in within the month, which is cool. Maybe we'll get it the week before Midnight launches, which would make sense because you don't want to have it launch, or you don't want to have phase 4 of MoP Classic and Midnight happen at the same time. So it either needs to be before or after. And I would think before would be better because after, people are going to be really focused on Midnight and they're not going to want to play phase 4 of Miss Pandaria Classic. So, and let's not pretend that people don't play both. Okay. I know that some people are like, I don't care about Modern WoW. I only want Classic. Yeah, I get that. But a lot of people do both, especially Miss Pandaria. So, yeah. So a few weeks is saying a lot. And that does mean that it's going to happen in winter, even though the roadmap says spring. So again, it's just a graphic, right? This isn't like a very specific, this isn't a project plan. This is just a graphic that's like, hey, here's stuff that's coming, whatever. All right. Phase 5, which is going to be Siege of Orgrimmar, Timeless Isle, a bunch of other stuff, is going to happen in summer of 2026. Now, the roadmap is very conspicuously empty after that with regards to Progression Classic. There's no mention of Warlords of Draenor. There's no mention of Legion. There's no mention of Classic Plus. There's no mention of anything at the end of the roadmap. It's just Siege of Orgrimmar, Phase 5, and then done. So it's a little weird. I gotta be honest. It's very weird. We'll come back to that in a second. Burning Crusade Anniversary. So the launch date we know is February 5th. That's this Thursday. If you're listening to this before that, if you're listening to this after the launch of TBC Classic Anniversary Edition, then yeah, you already know when that is. Phase 2 will be spring of 2026. So it's going to be the Eye, Tempest Keep the Eye, and Silvershrine Caverns. Phase 3 will be summer of 2026. That's going to be Mount Hyjal raid and the Black Temple raid. Phase 3.5, which is Zulaman, and Phase 4, which is the Sunwell, will both take place in autumn of 2026. Which, again, it's a little weird because, okay, that's great. We know that now that it's fall, autumn 2026. Cool. What comes after that? We don't know. We don't know if there's going to be Wrath Classic. We don't know if there's going to be nothing. We have no idea. So the last thing that Holly mentioned before this lovely moment of the video, she talked about the Titan Reforged servers in China. Now, a lot of people have made speculations that this is what Classic Plus is going to be. They're play testing it in China. The Titan Reforged servers are being play tested in China so they can bring them to the Western audiences and say, here's Classic Plus. What she said was that this is made for players in China based on how they play. And so I think that was her way of saying, no, this is not for Western audiences. This is just for China. And we're going to get something, or there will be something different that goes to everyone. This is just to give them something to do until Classic Plus gets here. In the West, we got Anniversary and we got Season of Discovery. So they didn't get that in China. Regardless, this is all the information that she gave us. And again, we know all of this stuff, but having the dates kind of confirmed roughly this, spring 2026, summer, whatever, it at least gives us kind of an idea. Okay, cool. And then she started to do an announcement, which we can all only assume was Classic Plus. And she said, all Classic players are going to be happy that we're going to announce. And then they faked out and somebody called, no, Holly, off screen. And she said, we'll get to that later. Which, of course, later never came, because what she means is we'll announce that at BlizzCon. So here's the problem that so many people had. they felt like they were teased, and not nicely. I thought it was funny, but a lot of people didn't really find the humor in it, which I get it. That's fine. They wanted at least some sort of news or information about what's going on with Classic. And when people say what's going on with Classic, they don't mean, hey, when is Phase 5 Siege of Orgrimmar coming out? That's not what people are asking for. That will come out when we know it's coming, and it will come out when it comes out. We already know that. When is Black Temple going to be here? We know it's coming. That's not the concern. The concern is what happens after Sunwell? What happens after Siege of Orgrimmar? And we still don't know. We still don't know when those things are coming. And I can't understand why they wouldn't tell us this. At least to say, hey, Classic players, whatever. I don't know. I still feel like, even though people say, somebody on the Discord server said that there was a Warlords of Draenor box in the little teaser video that they did to let people know about this State of Azeroth video. There was a Warlords of Draenor box and a Legion game box. And so somebody was like, oh, that means that's what's coming next. Well, we didn't get that announcement. And they're not even telling us what's going to... If Phase 5 Siege of Orgrimmar is happening in summer... I can't imagine that Blizzard really wants to leave players sitting in Siege of Orgrimmar for a year and a half while they're working on Classic Plus. They've got to do something. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think Blizzard is going to continue to tease us. They're going to give little tidbits here and there without actually announcing anything. And when we get to BlizzCon, they're going to announce Classic Plus or whatever they decide to call it. And it's going to be, and you'll be able to play it this week or next week. I think that that's what's happening here. And that's why they're not telling us anything. Because if they wouldn't come and announce Classic Plus and say, hey, this is coming in a year. And now you've got Classic players who are sitting on whichever version of Classic they're playing, Miss Pandaria, the Burning Crusade, who are now, I have to wait a year of nothing before I can play this. People are going to revolt. They will completely riot in Anaheim. The bar at the Hilton will be very busy after BlizzCon if that's what happens. So I think the plan here, and this is why they've been so kind of cagey with all those Classic stuff, is that they're going to announce Classic Plus, and it will happen right after BlizzCon. They've already been working on it for months and months and months. Remember, they stopped working on Season of Discovery back in May. Actually, they probably stopped before that. They just announced it in May. The last phase of Season of Discovery was April, which is almost a year ago now, which means that they've probably been working on Classic Plus for at least 10 months. If you add 9 months to that, or 8 months to that BlizzCon, let's see, carry the 18 months of development. If they can't get Classic Plus figured out in 18 months, I don't know. And I know people love to make the same joke. Oh, they've got 2 interns working on it. I guarantee you there's a full team there that are 100% dedicated to this Classic Plus project. They want to be able to announce at BlizzCon that it's going to be available as soon as you get home. That's what they want to be able to say. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think it will, but I cannot guarantee it because we just don't know. They are being so cautious with this thing. So anyway, Classic Plus, the big announcement. We have to wait for it. So, and it was funny. The fake out. I did laugh. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny. I was pleased. Even though I wasn't pleased, nobody really expected a Classic Plus announcement. But the fact that they teased us by saying there's going to be one coming, but we can't say anything yet, in that, that's kind of what she inferred. I get it, and it was funny. So anyway, let's move on from Classic, because I could just sit and talk about this all day. Honestly, I could go over this for hours, and I'll just repeat myself because I've said all of this already. I've probably repeated myself during this particular segment multiple times. I love Classic. I love playing it. I love the idea behind it, the feeling of it. And I really want them to get this right. I am so excited about Classic Plus, even though we know zero about it. We know zero. All we know is they're working on something. That's it. That's all we know. The future of WoW Classic. That's all we know. Is it going to be Classic Plus by name? Probably not. They'll probably come up with an actual clever name. Just like they didn't call it WoW Vanilla. They called it WoW Classic because that sounds cooler. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. All right. Holly finished off her... How do I segue out of that? Holly finished off her portion where she talked about feedback and how they're really wanting to get more player feedback. So they're going to start doing in-game surveys. So I talked about this with Old School RuneScape, that they do that. The Classic Plus websites, or that they've been doing surveys. This is what Blizzard is going to start doing. Now, how those surveys are going to work, we don't know. We just know that it's something that they're going to do. So we'll see what form that takes, but it's something that's coming. She announced the WoW Ambassador program, which is going to be a program where different content creators, Discord servers, things like that, can try to unite players in a way that gives them a way to find their home. So if you're playing WoW and you're like, well, I really want like-minded WoW players, this is what this program is for. Now, we don't know all the details of it. You can sign up for it now to be an ambassador, and they will go through and review all the submissions and then decide who the ambassadors will be. But yeah, this is a new program that they're doing, and I think it's great. I did sign up, put the podcast in the Discord out there. Whether or not they'll choose it, who knows? But I think every content creator out there should have at least some desire for creating a WoW community about what they do and who they are and how they approach the game, because we're all looking for like-minded players. I just jumped over onto the Solo Queue Discord that was launched a couple weeks ago, and there's so many players over there already who are, even though the Solo Queue is about playing solo, these are people who are like, hey, let's get together, let's play in game, let's do stuff, which I think is fantastic, because it's the people who don't want to be part of this big guild and I'm raiding and I'm Tuesday night and Thursday night 7 to 9 and 2 hours. They don't want to do that, and I get it. I don't want to do that either. I've done it, and it's fun for a little while, and then you're like, oh god, I don't want to do raid tonight. As soon as you get to that point, it's too late. Anyway, WoW Ambassador program will be coming, and then finally, Blizzard is partnering with Habitat for Humanity, and they are going to have a charity pet pack that is available on the store, which will include a little dog pet with a like a hard hat, and he's got a hammer in his mouth, and then so you can get that pet for Modern WoW and for Classic, and then also if you are in Modern WoW, you get a doghouse, a bowl, and a bed as decor items for your house. So there you go. No details yet on when that's going to be available and how much it will cost. I'm assuming it's going to be $25, but and yeah, I'll do that. Gotta have the doghouse. All right, so now we switch over. So that was all Holly Longdale, which I think Holly's fantastic. Love Holly, she's wonderful. This is Ian Hazzikostas. Ian Hazzikostas is the game director for World of Warcraft. He's one of the WoW community's favorite meme targets, as far as the WoW development team goes. So he started talking about the things that we already know. Here's what's coming in midnight with the launch. Here's the pre-patch event. Twilight Ascension is going. Devour Demon Hunters, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. We know all that stuff already. Cool. And again, this felt like kind of a commercial for what's coming up rather than more of an actual state of Azeroth. But regardless, so he got back into housing. So housing, there's going to be a couple of things that they're working on. This is not an exhaustive list of what they're working on, but she just wanted to share a few things with the audience of what they are currently looking at. So one thing is you can have your companion pets, you can place them in your house, and then they will kind of just roam around your house, which I think is great. Again, we don't know details on any of this stuff, just here's the general idea of what we're doing. So you'll be able to put your pets in there. We don't know how many. We don't know if you're going to like set up a path for them, or this pet goes in this room and that pet goes in that room. We don't know. But I think it'll be really cool to put your pets in the house. I think that'll be fun. You'll be able to hitch your mounts outside your house. So again, we don't know how many mounts and what that's going to look like, but there will be a place that you can have your favorite mounts sitting outside your house. Now, for me personally, I want that to be my motorcycle, right? Sitting right outside the house. But, we'll see what the options are on that. I think that would be so cool, though, to have the motorcycle right there. I'd love that. Oh, yeah. Come on, Blizzard. Make it happen. Don't be afraid. All right. Now, here's the big one. And this was impressive to me. We will be able to, when you create something that's made up of a lot of pieces, shrunken down and positioned in a certain way, you're making a cabinet or refrigerator. He gave the example of a grand piano. If you make that, it is literally, right now, is literally stuck in place. You cannot move it. You need to inch it over. No, you have to tear the whole thing apart and put it back together, which is frustrating. And I've done that. I build something and then I go, I don't want it here. I want it over there. Now you got to tear the whole thing down and put it back. So they're going to give you the ability to mass select your creations. And then I guess you can copy and paste them. You can save them. You can do different things. So if you build something and you really like it, you can save it. You can hold on to that and move it around or whatever it is that you want to do with it. And that is one of the biggest things that housing is missing right now, is the ability to actually manipulate some of this fake furniture that we're building, right? It's one thing to say, hey, I put down a furniture and then I want to move it over there. Fine. That's how the system works. But if I'm building stuff and I'm being creative, I want to be able to do more with that than just, well, it's there and it's stuck there now forever. So yeah, we're going to be able to do that. They also are going to give us the ability to import and export our house designs. So again, we don't know if this is going to be like per room or if it's just the entire house. I think that what they need to do is they need to have import export for rooms, so that I can say, all right, I'm going to save this room, copy and I don't mind having to do a little bit of legwork to be able to save this. Copy the room, save it, export that string out, put it in Notepad, and then tear everything out of the house and then put that room back. Because right now, if you have your main entrance room, so you have your entrance and then whatever your first room is, you cannot change that room style at all unless you destroy your entire house. So if you already have 10 rooms and you look at your main room and you go, I really wanted it to be a empty staircase room. Well, you can't unless you want to destroy your whole house. But now that we'll be able to export I'm assuming our rooms, you go through, you export all your rooms, save them. Here's this room, here's that room. And yeah, it takes a little bit of work, but at least you can do it. It's faster than redoing the rooms. And then you can change that main room, put something else in there. All right, now you go. Put all your other rooms back. Done. That'll take you 5 minutes instead of hours and hours and hours. So I think this is really good. Again, we don't know what this is going to look like, if Blizzard is going to nail this right on the nose or if it's going to be kind of clunky. It'll probably be clunky, honestly, to begin with, and it'll get better over time. This is the type of thing that Blizzard always implements awkwardly, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. We got to remember, this is a big game, and it has a lot of components to it. And I know I sound like a Blizzard shill right now, but honestly, this is a big game. And I don't care how many billions of dollars you have as a company. You only have so many people who can work on your game. You only have so many individual persons who are able to go in and execute things. You might have a team of people who do user interface design. Maybe 4 or 5 people, maybe 10. I don't know. Adding more people doesn't give you the ability to design better interfaces. That's still, you have to have process. You have to have management. You can't just say, well, we need to do better on our interfaces. Let's bring in 10 more people. You're probably going to end up being worse then if you do that. What you need to do is you need to have good developers, pay them well, and give them the time to work on these things. Bring in someone else to work on the interface for, whatever. I don't know. I can't even think of something. Some of the interfaces in the game are fine. And so maybe you need someone to just change some of the text on the interface, or maybe you want to change the background color, whatever. Fine. Have the intern do that. Take your good developers, your good designers, and give them proper money and have them just work on this stuff until it's done. And I think that's where some of the problem runs comes in, is it's hard to do that, because as a corporate entity, this isn't a small time studio. The bigger you are, the more oversight you have. And so now human resources is looking at it saying, why do you have 30 user interface developers? And why are we paying this guy $250,000 a year? Why don't we get rid of that guy and hire 10 more? It doesn't work that way. See, that's why I firmly believe you have to just have the right people in the right roles with the right compensation and be happy. That was one of the big problems, that Blizzard lost a lot of talent after all of the issues that they had a few years ago. And yeah, they lost some scumbags too, but a lot of the people that left because they were frustrated with the environment had a lot of potential, a lot of talent. That's why the social media team feels a little bit off right now, because they got rid of all those people, and the people they hired, they outsourced it, and the people who are doing it now are fine. They're adequate. They're not as good as the team that was doing it before. So anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but yeah, I do think that it's important to keep those things in mind when we are discussing the user interface and why things don't work in WoW. The reason that they don't work in WoW is because Blizzard lost a lot of talent, honestly, through their own fault and sometimes through layoffs as well. But they lost a lot of talent, and it shows. All right, let's move on. Oh, one more thing. So Ian also said that the decor budgets, they're planning to increase those inside and outside. I don't know how much he's talking about, or if it's just a matter of leveling up your house, but regardless, that's something that they are working on. And there's other things that they're working on too, but this is what he's revealed. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The Midnight Roadmap. Oh boy. Let's start off with patch 12.0.5. I already mentioned that it's on the internal dev server, so they're already testing this patch. This is slated to come out spring 2026. The two main features here that are being announced are Void Assaults, think Legion Assaults, but Void, and Prop Hunt. Now, Prop Hunt is basically hide and seek, but one team disguises themselves as inanimate objects like decor and hides in the city, whatever the boundaries of the game are. We don't know how that's going to work, but they hide, and the other team has to go find them. I think that's really cool. Actually, when you have a guild or a community or whatever it is, and you're looking for things to do, and people run old raids, or they do big RP events, or whatever it is that you want to do to kind of have everyone get together and be social, this is a great way to do it. Because if you have groups of 5, let's say you divide your raid team up, so 10 people are there. Okay, you 5 against you 5, and then you go do this. Now, I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to work, but I think that would be really cool. I think that would be fun. Or if you have your 5-player group and you're just like, I don't feel like running Mythic Plus tonight. Let's go do some prop hunt. I just feel like chilling and cracking open a beer or eating an edible and just doing prop hunt. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I know some people are frustrated with, oh, come on, Blizzard, give us more Mythic Plus dungeons, give us more raids. Well, if we want more raids, I'll tell you right now, in patch 12.0.7, also spring 2026, there's going to be a new raid. So we're going to get the raids that launch with the game. So we've got Void Spire, we've got, I can't remember the one boss raid, the one-off raid, and then the March on Quel'Danas raid. Those are going to be the raids that launch with Midnight. Season 1, those are the raids. This new raid, which they said is called Sporefall, it's a one-boss raid. It's not related to the story. It's just a one-off raid, just like the one that launches with the game. And yeah, we're just going to random raid in probably late spring or early summer. I think this is great. I think it'll be really weird for some of these guilds who are not sure about progression and things like that. I also don't know how that's going to work with the gear upgrade system. Is it going to be a different type of gear? Is it going to drop how is that going to work? Are people going to do it one time and then go, that was fine, I don't need to do that anymore though because I've already got the gear that I need? We'll see. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's what's coming in patch 12.0.7, which is so weird that they're just deciding to like just throw stuff at us. This patch also is going to include story and quests, which fine. Void Assault's escalation, so they're going to like improve the Void Assaults. I don't know what that means. And then Turbulent Timeways will be back. So yeah, that's the first season of Midnight right there. There you go. That's it. That's what we're getting, which I think is really cool. All right, let's move on to patch 12.1, which is summer 2026. So this one's pretty generic. New zone, new raid, and new zone is going to be a brand new level 90 zone. So think like Undermine or why can't I think of the name of the ethereal planet? Oh man, this is going to kill me now. Anyway, so a brand new zone that we're going to be able to go to. We don't know the story behind this. He did not reveal any story information, so one can only assume what it's going to be or guess what it's going to be, but we won't know until probably sometime after the launch of Midnight. They will give us the information on 12.1. So the new zone, a new raid or raids. We don't know if it's going to be one raid or 5 raids. We have no idea. A new dungeon. So they're going with the same model from The War Within, where there's going to be a new dungeon in season 2 and then a new dungeon in season 3. New delves. And it does say delves with an S at the end, which means we're probably going to get more than one delve, which is cool. We did the same thing with the Undermine patch in The War Within, so that's cool. Updated Mythic Plus pool, updated season rewards, yeah, all that stuff. New world boss, fine. And then housing, social, and UI updates. So they're going to continue to work on the UI. I know that's a big point of contention right now in the community, is that they feel like Blizzard is spending all their time on housing and not spending enough time on UI. They are spending plenty of time on the UI, trust me. It's just, yeah, I don't know. All right. And then patch 12.1.5, which is going to be autumn 2026. This is interesting because they're going to have a new delve type, and this is going to be labyrinths. So the way they describe it is like a mega dungeon delve version. So you're going to be able to go into this massive labyrinth delve, and you can do it in chunks, which I'm assuming means it's going to be like it's either resets once a week, or maybe you can save the reset, or how, I don't know how that's going to work, but you'll be able to do it in parts. It's going to have a separate reward and upgrade structure, which I'm not sure what that means. Maybe it's going to have better rewards, or it's going to have a different type of rewards. We'll see. Blizzard has done this sort of thing before, like imagine Torghast, right? But imagine Torghast with real rewards that you didn't feel like you had to do. Torghast would have been a lot more fun if it had not been tied to the legendary system in Shadowlands. I actually really liked Torghast. So I think this could be really good. And it's another wave. I keep calling this delve raids, right? Because it's going to be really big, so it's going to be like a raid. I don't know that it's going to be more raid-like or if it's going to be more mega dungeon-like. Either way, it's going to be a really big thing in sections that you can do one section at a time, or you can do all of them if you want. And we don't know how big it's going to be. Maybe it just scales endlessly and you just go as far as you can. I don't know. But this is the new thing they're working on. They're calling it Labyrinths right now. That might change, but this is the new mega dungeon delve mode. So I think that's really cool. And then in 12.1.5, there will also be another new raid. And this one is actually going to be a direct continuation of the story narrative from patch 12.1. So again, we don't know what that's going to be yet, but they are teasing that this raid will not be a one-off. This will be a continuation of the story in some capacity. So that'll be really cool. And then new stuff. And then finally, patch 12.1.7, which is also autumn of 2026. The only thing we really know about that is it's going to have a new game mode a la Plunderstorm or Remix. So the team that worked on those is already working on a brand new concept, which we don't know what it is. The only screenshot we have is like some sort of magical energy area looking thing. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know how it's going to work. We have no clue. remember, we didn't know what Plunderstorm was going to be. So we just had this tease of, hey, Pirate Flag. And then when Plunderstorm was announced, it was like, what? And then people did it and they were like, oh, this is actually really fun. So, I mean, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. I don't know. That remains to be seen. But this is what they're doing. This is what this year is going to look like. We're going to get through the first 2 seasons, basically. And sometime in the beginning of next year, we will get season 3. And I mean, I'm assuming that by the time this patch 12.1.7 comes out, we'll already know what the season 3 is going to be and what we're getting at the Last Titan and all of that stuff, because we're going to get some announcements at BlizzCon. I'm assuming right now that the Last Titan will probably launch sometime in fall 2027, because if we're going with an 18-month expansion cycle, fall 2027, which means at BlizzCon they can do the full announcement for the Last Titan, and it'll just be all right. In a year, this is what's going to happen. So yeah, that was the State of Azeroth. Now, yeah, like I said, a lot of people were frustrated with it. They wanted more information. They wanted information about Classic. I think most of the modern WoW fans were happy with what was revealed. Maybe they wanted a little bit more story spoilers, but we didn't really get any. And yeah, that's it. I was, like I said, this is a little confusing because I'm like, well, I'm not really sure what this is about and what it's going to be. But it was good to have this information and maybe a little bit more of an explanation from the roadmap, which is versus like last year when we got the roadmap and it was just like the timeline turns green at the end. We were all like, does that mean Legion Remix? And Blizzard was like, I don't know. And then finally they were like, yes, it means Legion Remix. Jesus Christ, fucking, it's Legion Remix. So, yeah, it was nice to have a little bit of an explanation, although this did feel a little overly grand for just the roadmap reveal. I think that this was really just a, hey, new player, why don't you come back to WoW? Check out all the cool things that we've got going on in game. That's what this felt like to me, more than a, hey, existing WoW players who already know all this stuff already, here's all the stuff that's coming new. So, and that's why it felt a little wordy. Like, we know that already. What, get to the good stuff. But yeah, there you go. So, like I said, the modern WoW stuff was great. The classic stuff was really frustrating. Like I said, I know that they saved the Classic Plus announcement for BlizzCon. I get that. But still, we still don't know what's happening to Mists of Pandaria Classic. These are the servers that people started playing on in 2019. And Holly even pointed that out. It's been 6 years, 6.5 years at this point. So if you've got players who've been playing on this server for 6.5 years, they've got their guilds, they've got all their friends, they've got their collections. Maybe somebody got Scarab Lord, or they've got Thunder Fury, or whatever it is, and they're loving the game and they're having a great time. Okay. What's going to happen to those characters? Are they going to go away? Are they going to get transferred to retail? Are they going to get transferred to Classic Plus? Are they going to get transferred to Anniversary? Or is Blizzard going to create a new Titan Forge server and that's where everybody's going to go live? That could be the case, where we say, hey, we're ending Progression Classic after Mists of Pandaria. It's over. But the servers will stay up and all raids will be available as endgame content. So you'll play with the Mists of Pandaria talents and abilities, which honestly I feel like is one of the best versions of combat in WoW is Mists of Pandaria. So kudos for that. If this is what ends up happening. So we have the Mists of Pandaria talents and combat system, and every single raid that's ever been released in WoW available at max level. So you can go run whatever raids you want. You can hang out with your friends. Let's do Naxx tonight. Let's do ICC. Let's do Firelands. Let's Throne of Thunder next week. Do whatever you want to do. Hang out. Just have a good time. Rather than giving people 20 different destinations. Oh, well, TBC era servers and Wrath era servers and Cata era servers, because some people would want Cataclysm era servers. I don't know why, but they would. if you've already progressed to Mists of Pandaria, you can't go back, right? You can't go back. Those characters are already at level 90. It's too late. They're already there. So you can't revert them to Wrath of the Lich King characters. It's going to feel weird. Or TBC characters. So Mists of Pandaria is where it is. So maybe what Blizzard will do is, like I said, the servers will just turn into like a Titan Reforged server, but in Mists of Pandaria instead. So you can just pick whatever content you want to do, and it's all valuable and it's all valid. Because at this point, who cares? It's just a place to go hang out. Everybody's going to switch over to Classic Plus anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I don't know. I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed if we don't end up going to Warlords of Draenor Classic. I know people will be disappointed, and not because they love Warlords of Draenor so much, but because they want to go to Legion. And so I get it, but I think Blizzard is trying to reduce the amount of confusion and competition within the Classic WoW community. I think they want to be able to say, all right, Classic players, here's Classic Plus, go. So I don't know. I know a lot of people will be disappointed with that decision. And maybe it'll be a case where you can go play whatever version of the game you want, whatever raids you want to run. I don't know. Or maybe it'll end and you'll be able to choose where you want to go. Which era do you want to go to? Maybe they'll just make era servers for every era, and you can move your characters around for free whenever you want. All right, I'm going to switch over to the TBC era server. Now you're level 70. I'm going to switch over to the Cataclysm era server. Now you're level 85, and you've got Cata talents. I don't know. They could do that. It'd probably be annoying for them to have to code that, but it's doable. Just get that intern to do it. So anyway, obviously retail WoW, modern WoW has a lot going for it right now. Housing is really popular. People are really happy with the World Soul Saga. Midnight is a little rocky with the start here because of the UI changes and the add-on changes that are going on. That's fine. That'll get worked out, and then people will forget how angry we were at the beginning of Midnight when we realize how awesome the story is and how cool that new raid is and how much fun the new labyrinths are and how awesome this new game mode is. We'll forget all about the add-on changes if Blizzard can get it right. So I feel like WoW is in a really good state. Azeroth is in a good state. I just want to know what's going on with Classic. And I've been saying this for months now, and we've got nothing. We have zero information about that. So I guess we'll see. All right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. If you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help us out, you could consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Those really help out with the distribution. So if you could do so, that would be awesome. I'd love that. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you could help us out by giving us a like and a comment and a subscribe. Those all really help out the algorithm there for the old YouTubes. If you are really enjoying the show and you would like to help us out in other ways, you could consider joining our Patreon. That is where people can give their IRL money to help out with the support of the show, with the production, the different software that I use, the equipment, the microphones, whatever. It all helps. And I'm never going to put anything behind a paywall. Azeroth United will always be free. I'm never going to put ads in the show. I've thought about it and I was like, no, why? I'll just alienate people who just want to listen to a cool podcast. So no ads in the show. No, I'm not going to put an add-on behind a paywall or anything like that. No, if you want to help me out, great. If you don't and you just want to listen to Azeroth United, great. Either way, it's fine. But if you do want to help and you want to join the Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Azeroth United. There are 3 different tiers of patrons. We have our free tier where you can just join and you don't have to pay any money. You can just be there. There's a standard tier and then our friend of the show patrons, which is our $3 Patreon tier. And I want to thank our friend of the show patrons right now. That's Judge Omni, Stuglife, Thelial, Greybeard, Raven, and Macus. Thank you all so much for your support. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. And that's it. That's the whole show. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach out to me. I'm on Twitter or Blue Sky @Denethar. Or you can email me, denethar1@gmail.com. I'll probably check that as well. But Twitter is probably the best way because I do check Blue Sky, just not very often. So, and that's that. So thank you again for listening. And it's what a state of Azeroth that we're in right now. But you know what? I think things are good. I'm really looking forward to Midnight. Looking forward to Burning Crusade. I'll probably do a little bit of both. And yeah, there you go. So, all right. Remember to be good to each other out there. It's a real life person on the other side of that keyboard, and whether they like playing TBC Classic Anniversary Edition or Midnight or whatever it is, Miss Pandaria Classic, or maybe that one guy that's still playing Season of Discovery. It's okay. You can just all be friends, and we can all get along. And just remember to be nice and to smile and to have fun. All right. Take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.